So when the Rebbe became Rebbe in 1951 in Tafshin Yud Aleph, he assumed his leadership by saying a discourse, a mimer, called Basi Lagani. Now what he really did in that discourse is he revolutionized the entire project of Chabad. Up until then, Lubavitch was a Chassidus that had a continuation of the Baal Shem Tov, which was a channel of spreading the light of Pnimius HaTorah, of the inner dimension of Torah, a way of teaching a way of serving Hashem in the deepest way. One connect to the deepest elements of their neshama, develop yourself spiritually, and connect to God in the highest way. When the Rebbe became Rebbe and said Basi Lagani, the Rebbe revealed that there is something much deeper over here, and that Chabad Chasidus is really the introduction to the ultimate and completion of the Jewish people, of the ultimate purpose of creation, and that Lubavitch and his leadership in the seventh generation is given the task to complete the job of elevating the entire world and bringing Mashiach and making the entire world Mashiach the world. Now, people listening to what the Rebbe was saying, to that mimer, the elderly Chassidim, they were listening like a Chassidim listening to a Rebbe, but again, I don't think they really got it. It was something that was so stunning and so beyond the thinking patterns of what people were thinking, that are we talking about an actual conquest of the entire world? Didn't make any sense. And the young people, the Bachrim, the younger crowd, was very idealistic and enthusiastic. Talk about conquering the whole world. Ufaratzta, let's get out, conquer the whole world, make the whole world godly. We're talking about suddenly a global vision, a universal project. So the younger Chassidim obviously got on the bandwagon and to work with the Rebbe. But even then, who can think? You're talking about a small group in a Brooklyn shul, 300 Chassidim over there. How many Chassidim were Lubavitch at that time? Maybe 1,000 Chassidim across the world, 2,000, maybe 3,000, whatever. We're not dealing with something too big yet. I'm talking about a project of transforming the entire world. So they thought, okay, we'll go out, we'll spread Hasidus, we'll get more people to influenced by Chabad Hasidism, to learn, to become Chabad Hasidim, and of course to spread Yiddishkeit. A couple of 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, a few thousand people. But the Rebbe had different plans, and as the Siyos continued over 40 years, he did exactly what he said he would do at this first Farbrengen, at the first Maimer, that he was going to conquer the world. And he set up a global network. Who would have thought that he would send out shluchim and ambassadors across the entire world, set up the greatest Jewish network ever, and chase down every Jew with the mitzvah. So many institutions, so much, unbelievable. Now, and then when the Rebbe started talking about Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, that it's our task to influence the Gentiles as well, so then we began to see that he really means business. But still, it's still a very far, shot from actual world dominance. When I say world dominance, I mean holy dominance of God over the world, where Kedusha is. Okay, you still have a big world, mighty empires, a world, nations, governments, not really paying too much attention to little Chabad, Lubavitch. In 1990, the Rebbe started revealing that we finished the job. He says the job was done. And the Rebbe started saying, and now you can see that continents are moving. We're beginning to shake the planet. You're beginning to see an impact, what we call in Chassidus, Bechitzayni Yisrael. Major movements are happening that are affecting hundreds of millions of people, are being impacted by the work that we have done. And the Rebbe said it's directly Mashiach's the influence of Chabad, the influence of the spreading of Hasidus, which is the work of Mashiach, is affecting a change. He says it brought down the Soviet Union, a regime that was so powerful, so unconquerable, unthinkable that it would ever be able to be changed. And it changed in a magnificent way, which you saw. It's the Yad Hashem, the work of God. You see, it was something spiritual that transformed the face of the Soviet Union and the whole inner workings of the Soviet Union. That here of a country that was fighting Judaism all along is now assisting millions of Jews to leave the country and also to build Judaism in the previous Soviet Union. The Rebbe pointed out major effects in the wars in the Middle East that were going on, where the entire world was involved. Then George Bush got together a coalition, and the Rebbe is saying this is all the work of Mashiach. This is all the work of what we've been doing all these years is now showing. But okay, yeah, it was an event or two, and that's it. And then Gimel Thomas came along in the concealments, and we kind of like trying to figure out, like, what was the Rebbe saying? Yeah, no. 25 years later, and we look around the world now, and we're seeing such phenomenon. We're seeing that literally Kedusha is taking a hold of the world. Because if you just looked a few years ago, there was a very, very powerful anti-God, anti-Israel movement in the world. It still exists today, but the difference is that 3 years ago, they were the ones calling the shots and running the show. Now, miraculously, completely inexplainably, the governments have changed, primarily the government in the United States. And something that was unthinkable and impossible. The leader of the United States today, the President of the United States, President Donald Trump, may he be blessed, has completely changed not only the game, but he changed the rule of the game. He transformed everything. Became the greatest defender of Eretz Yisrael for something which is Negeya to Mashiach Tzidkenu, which is Shleimus Haaretz, defending the borders of the land, putting up an ambassador there that's one of ours, someone who learns the Rebbe Sichas. Who would have ever thought that? David Friedman, he's the one calling the shots in Eretz Yisrael. Completely choked off the enemies of the Jewish people, Iran. Now when there's a big fight going on in the United States, and he says there's people attacking America, he keeps on equating America and Israel, as if Israel and America are one land, one country. He's so defending, it's like unbelievable. And one can see that, and who's involved? Who's involved in all of this? Only Chabad. You don't see the Reform in the White House, you don't see the Conservative in the White House, you don't see the other Frum Jews, Agudas Yisrael and others in the White House. Only Lubavitch. Take a look. Yisrael Goldstein is there, goes to the White House, gives a speech. By the way, that too, you can see it's Mashiach Day. It happened through a Nebuch Chesed event, but it took place on Mashiach's Day, Achron Shel Pesach. He speaks in the White House, then is invited to the UN, and a Jew, who ever heard that? A Frum rabbi telling the entire nations of the world that he speaks to them about Mashiach is coming, saying the word Mashiach, and they have to keep the Zion Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. He speaks about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. This is stunning. And the last week, Vice President, second in command, comes to the Chabad of Poway and says to the Chabad rabbi, you're an inspiration to all of America. Like, you see that who is behind, and I mean, we once spoke about this, not for now, but all the dates that everything is happening are all aligned with the specific dates that are all connected to the Rebbe, to his Nesius, and so on and so forth, being that the whole Trump legitimacy to be president is Yutes Kislev, calling of Yerushalayim, Yutes Kislev, Yudalit Kislev also. I mean, things that are the Rebbe's Day of Chasana, incredible things that are happening. So basically, we're beginning to realize that the Rebbe really meant it. He wasn't kidding. He wasn't like having a dream. It's like Yosef with the dreams. The brothers didn't believe him, that he would be the ruler of the world. Now it's turning out that the one who's actually calling the shots and ruling the world is Lubavitch. I just saw on one of the places that were reporting the news how Kushner met in Israel, not in Israel, with Arab countries, and getting support from the biggest enemies of the Jewish people to resolve the Palestinian problem without splitting Yerushalayim, without giving up. I mean, they didn't discuss that part yet. They speak in the financial element of it. It's just stunning how they're even talking to him. He's a Jew and he's talking. So I saw one of the comments of an anti-Semite. Just you see how true this is. He says it used to be United States of America. Now it's Chabad America. It's like crazy. He's noticing, this rabid anti-Semite is noticing that Chabad is running the world. So to maybe give perhaps a little explanation of what, in a way that we can grasp what's happening, Geula is compared, Galus and Geula, but Geula is compared to a pregnancy and to a birth. when a woman becomes pregnant, so in the beginning, no one knows. She's pregnant, but no one knows. And a little while later, the pregnancy starts to be noticeable. But even when the pregnancy is noticeable, and then for the full 9 months, it becomes very noticeable, what you're noticing is just that something is happening, but you have no idea what. I mean, obviously, we know already, we have an idea what, but to our visible, to the naked eye, we don't see anything. There is an entire child, an entire human being, which means a whole reality, a whole world that is being developed, but it's being developed in the inside. Then the baby is born, and the baby becomes suddenly like, wow, where did this whole structured Ramach Evarim Shasa Gidim, 248 limbs and 365 sinews come? Where did it come from? Huh? It was developed in the inside, but it was now put out on the outside. But then take this baby, and the baby's still a baby, so the baby doesn't draw too much attention to itself, but it is already something to be reckoned with. It's already an independent existence in the world. You don't see this child for 10 years, 15 years, 25 years. Come back 25 years, and this child is a businessman running a company, 25-year-old. He's married, he's got 3 kids. It's a whole major mitzias in this world, an impact in this world. Basi Legani, when the Rebbe said that Maimer, if I can give a marshal, that was the pregnancy. That's when the Geula became, so to speak, impregnated in the world. As the Rebbe was giving us work to do with Chassidus, when we weren't realizing, we're seeing that something is growing, we have no idea what. But Pnimius, a whole reality, a whole world, what we could call a new world order is being developed in the inside, the Pnimius Olam, the whole structure of the world as it's going to be in Mashiach's days is being built in the inner world. 1990, in 1991, the baby was born. The Rebbe is Megala Mashiach in the world. And the Rebbe is showing, it's a baby already. It's in the world already. It's impacting nations. It's having an effect. And then, Gimel Tammuz, we said, we thought it's over, something happened. Maybe the baby, I don't know, maybe the baby passed away, chas v'shalom. Well, 25 years later, and this baby is not a little baby. It's a major, major mover and shaker of the entire world. And you should know that every day it's going to become clearer and clearer and clearer. The Eibush is just giving us now a little time that we should show him that we're a Ben Chacham, that we can notice it on our own. We need to notice that everything that's happening in the world is as a result of all the Torah mitzvahs that we've done as a Jewish people, particularly the result of the Baal Shem Tov, of Chassidus, and of Chassidus Chabad, and of the Nesius of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and the work that our generation, particularly the Shluchim and all Chabad Chassidim, have done in all the world. We've created this magnificent king, this magnificent power that is now already a full force in the world. And we merit to see it completely now.